Hello and welcome to part 9 of the Scratch tutorial series with Mr. Ezra Reimer. In this video we're going to be covering adding some basic enemy minions to your game and then also getting them pathed and adding a lives variable. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add a minion to our game. So we're going to add a new sprite. We've got 7 sprites already, 5 donuts, 1 level sprite, and 1 player character called Scratch. Let's click on choose a sprite, and let's add an enemy in that's going to keep us away from these donuts. Dog, crabs, cats. I don't know. Cats are afraid of crabs. Cats are afraid of bats. I think bat will be a fun one. Let's click on the bat. Got a giant bat here in the center. Let's get this guy down to size by changing his size here. Going with the standard 30 and then adjusting as necessary, but I think 30 is good. It's roughly the same size as Scratch. Okay, we're gonna start this guy right here. It's a good place for him to start. So Bat is his name, and he is going to be our first enemy minion. So the first thing we got to do is we've got to basically get the lives variable working and get a little respawn mechanic functioning for us. So let's click on Scratch, and we're going to start a whole new block of code, and this block of code is going to cover basically what happens when we touch a minion or an enemy sprite, and then how we respond, lose lives, etc. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click on our variables. We're going to add a third variable. This will be the last one that we need for this particular tutorial. Although as you get more complex in your games, you can use them for all sorts of other functions, including doing sort of binary style variables with ones and zeros, which are useful for basically telling whether something is true or false. So let's make a variable right here. Click on that, and we're going to call this variable lives. Okay, it'll show up here in the top. Let's move this down right there. Let's maybe put, I think it should go level, lives, and then points for our readout here. Now, in your level design, you might actually want to basically block this area at the bottom off so that you have a nice clean, basically break or for your HUD or heads-up display. But for this case, we're just going to leave these things tucked here at the bottom and not worry about that too much. Okay, so I've got the Scratch sprite selected. We're going to start a new block. I like to always keep my blocks kind of themed. So this is our movement and boundary sensing block we built. And now we're going to create a block that's exclusively built around lives and respawns for enemy interactions. So when the green flag is clicked, or when the go flag is clicked, and we are going to do a forever check to see if we're touching this enemy. So let's forever check, so using a forever control block. And we're going to create an if-then statement checking to see if we're touching an enemy, and then having a series of actions occur if that is true. So if-then statement in there. Now, you'll remember we did a touching sensing block before. This is very much the same. You'll notice when I click here in sensing and go to the mouse pointer drop down, all the new sprites that have been added into the game since we last did that are available. So we're going to choose the bat. So if touching bat, we're going to make our character do what normally happens with a game with like sort of a hard restart. So as opposed to taking damage, we're just like going to die and do like a hard restart on this level. So with touching the bat, then we are going to hide, right? Because your character basically disappears when it dies. Now you'll remember from before with the donuts, as soon as you put a hide block in somewhere, you always have to make sure you have a show block somewhere else, just in case your game restarts before you've reappeared. So let's grab a show block, and let's also drop it in here at the top, just to make sure that we always show up at the beginning of the game. So, forever, if touching bat, then hide. The next step would be to change our lives variable. So we're going to go to change lives right here. Remember, change is relative, set is absolute. So change lives by not 1, because changing lives by 1 would give you an extra life. We want the lives to go down by 1, so we're going to set it to -1. Change lives by -1. Then, important part of creating a game that feels appropriately, I guess, crunchy or like solid is making sure there's an appropriate pause before you respawn so it feels like you actually died. So let's go to our control. We're going to wait for 1 second. So control block, wait 1 second. You can customize this to however you see fit, but it will give us just a little pause. So hide, change lives by -1, and then making sure that the stop sign is pressed. We're going to set our respawn point. So where do we want to respawn? We're going to go respawn in the same spot we started. Let's go to our motion, making sure that the stop sign is pressed so that this updates. Go to XY coordinate. Remember, a go to XY coordinate is basically an instant move to that spot. If you want to like glide or like move slowly to a spot, that's a glide block, which is over here. But go to is just instantly be at that spot. So go to X -210, Y -149, and then we will reappear. So we'll go to show. That is all the code we need for this little bit. Let's give it a little test. Come down here, run into the bat, bang, reappear. Notice our lives are now at -1. They were at 0, so obviously we need to create a set amount of lives that we're going to have for this game. So that all worked just fine. We hid, we disappeared, our lives went down by 1, we respawned in the same in the spot we wanted to respawn, and then we reappeared. Okay, so let's go to our level, sprite. Just because this is where I'm keeping all the lives or all the variables, let's just add a set lives to 3 block right here. I'm just going to drag it up, stick it in there. So when the game starts, set the lives to 3, level to 1, points to 0. Let's try that out. Okay, so lives 3, lives 2, lives 1, lives 0, and lives -1. That's totally fine if it goes into the negatives. We haven't basically programmed in what happens when you hit 0 lives yet. So this is just a counter. It just counts a number and we change it by -1 every time something happens. So it doesn't matter if it's going into -1 at the moment. Let's go back to this bat here. He's currently still not doing anything. So let's actually click on Scratch. We've got this code here. Let's create another bat. I'm just going to right click and duplicate them. So we have bat2. And right click and duplicate and have bat3. Let's actually make it so I can run into all of them. Let's move them around here a little bit. Let's go back to Scratch. Now there's a couple ways to do this, but one of the things you have to remember, and that I mentioned earlier, is the whole idea of Scratch doesn't intuit anything. You have to tell it exactly what to do. So even though I've created 3 bats called bat, bat2, and bat3, if I run into either of these 2 other bats, nothing's going to happen because I haven't programmed anything in. So we want all our bats to do the same thing, so the same bit of code. Now I could right click here on the if statement, duplicate it, drop it down, and select bat number 2, and then I could duplicate this, drop it down underneath, making sure not to nest, and select bat number 3. And that would be fully legitimate way to do this code, and it's also messy. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to Control Z to undo that. Go back here to the original. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use an operator to create an OR statement. So I'm going to grab my operators here. I'm going to grab my OR statement. And I have 3 enemies. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 3-spot OR statement, which can be done simply by grabbing another OR statement and sticking it in there. And this still reads grammatically this or this or this. These 2 aren't like grouped separate from that. It's just these are or. If touching bat, if touching, and we're just going to grab a couple different touching sensing blocks. We're just going to set this to bat2 and bat3. So now this little operator reads touching bat or bat 2 or bat 3. And or is important because that means it can be all of them. There's a weird duplication there. I see what happened. So making sure that's clean. I'm just going to grab this right here. Grab that, remove it. Drop that in there. So if touching bat or touching bat 2 or touching bat 3, then do these things. And we're going to give it a quick test and make sure it works. So dies and respawns. Dies and respawns. And dies and respawns. Good. So we now have our lives variable working properly for when we run into enemies. Next video, we're going to get these bats moving so they don't just block our way and they actually have to patrol around and cause us a little bit of difficulty as we move through the level.